There is a profound silence between you and someone right now. But I need you to know that this silence is incredibly loud on their end. There's someone thinking about you right now. But this situation is far more complex than it appears on the surface. While they might project an image of moving on, of being entirely unbothered, the reality behind closed doors is completely different. The contrast between what they show the world and what they actually feel at 2 a.m. is staggering. There is a deep, lingering regret here, a heavy realization of what was lost. Yet, an invisible wall of pride is keeping them entirely frozen in place. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Though glad, please remember this is a general reading. So just take what resonates with your specific journey and leave the rest behind. Energy is fluid, and you always hold the power in your own life story. Let's dive in. I want to pull back the curtain on this energy because there is so much happening beneath the surface, behind the scenes, in spaces you cannot currently see. When I tap into this person's energy, the very first thing that hits me is a wave of resistance. It's not resistance to you, though it might feel that way. It is a profound resistance to their own vulnerability. This person is carrying a secret weight, a realization that has been slowly dawning on them over the past few weeks. There is an unspoken dialogue constantly running through their mind. They replay memories and your last interactions. They think about the things they said. And more importantly, the things they didn't say when they had the chance. I am picking up on a very specific feeling of them staring at their phone, pulling up your profile, typing something out, and then rapidly deleting it. Their heart rate spikes when they think of you. But then, almost instantly, a defensive wall slams down. This is someone who has spent a lifetime confusing emotional suppression with emotional strength. They genuinely believed that by walking away, by creating distance, or by maintaining a stoic facade, they were protecting themselves. But instead they have trapped themselves inside an echo chamber of their own regret. The universe is forcing them to look at the empty space you left behind. It's no longer just a passing thought. It's a haunting absence. They are realizing that the connection you shared wasn't just a fleeting chapter. It was something rare, something deeply anchoring. And the most frustrating part for them is that they know they are the architect of this current distance. They built the wall, and now they are desperately wondering if there is any way to dismantle it without losing face, without shattering the ego that has kept them safe for so long. Let's start pulling the energy of these cards into the story. I'm seeing the Five of Cups falling right in the center of their current emotional state, and this is heavy. This isn't just a mild disappointment. This feels like a quiet, private mourning. Imagine someone standing in a dimly lit room, staring at shattered glass on the floor. They are hyper-fixated on what went wrong, on the spilled emotion, on the fracture in the foundation. They are looking back at the past with this profound sense of what if? What if I had just been honest? What if I hadn't let my own insecurities drive the narrative? But here's the crucial detail about this energy. There are still full cups standing right behind them, but they can't bring themselves to turn around yet. The pride is literally stiffening their neck. Next to this, the Nine of Wands crashes into the spread. This card is the epitome of the wounded warrior, the defensive stance, the barricade. This feels like their ego stepping in as a bodyguard, even when the threat is already gone. They are holding on to this wand so tightly that their knuckles are white. They are incredibly guarded, expecting rejection, expecting you to be angry or indifferent if they were to show any sign of weakness. Their pride is a defense mechanism built over a lifetime, long before they even met you. Whenever they feel that ache of missing you, and I'm seeing that ache hit them at random times, like when they hear a specific song, their immediate reflex is to build the wall higher. It's a tragic cycle. The more they miss you, the more their ego flares up to protect them from the vulnerability of admitting it. Then the hermit energy emerges. This paints a picture of intense isolation. They have retreated into their own mental cave. They might be surrounded by friends, or distracting themselves with surface-level things. But internally, they are entirely alone. The hermit shows a period of forced introspection. They can't outrun their thoughts about you anymore. In the silence of their own mind, the lantern of the hermit is shining a harsh light on their own actions. They are realizing where they fell short. This is a very lonely energy because they can't talk to anyone about this. To admit to their friends how deeply they regret losing you would mean dismantling the narrative they've constructed. It would mean admitting they made a mistake. So, they sit in the dark, turning over the memories like smooth stones in their hands. When this person goes quiet, it is easy to assume they have simply moved on. But this energy tells me the opposite. This silence is the loudest environment they have ever lived in. They are looking at the armor they wear every single day and realizing it has become a cage. This armor of pride was supposed to keep them safe. Yet here they are, heartbroken by their own design. I am seeing this overwhelming hesitation. They want to lay down their weapons, but they literally do not know how to exhale and let it go. The internal battle is exhausting them physically and spiritually. Every single day, they wake up hoping the urge to contact you will fade, and every night they go to sleep realizing the feeling has only grown stronger. They are fundamentally trapped in a purgatory of their own making, terrified of the leap required to bridge the gap, yet suffocating in the stagnant air of their self-imposed isolation. Let's break down the actual personalities at play here, because the contrast between who you are and who they are right now is the core engine of this entire dynamic. On one side we have this person, the one who walked away, or created the distance. Their energy is remarkably quiet right now, but it's a heavy, pressurized quiet. This is someone who operates heavily from a place of logic, or at least they try to convince themselves that they do. They are deeply analytical, prone to overthinking, and notoriously slow to process their own emotions. In the past, when things got too intense or required too much vulnerability, their default setting was retreat. They are the classic avoider when emotional stakes get high. They prefer to look unbothered, cool, and collected. They want the world to perceive them as self-sufficient and untouchable. But underneath that carefully curated exterior, there is a profound fear of failure, specifically, failure in relationships. Then we have the energy that you embody in this dynamic, and it is a brilliant contrast. You are showing up as incredibly intuitive, emotionally deep, and remarkably authentic. Unlike them, you wear your heart much closer to your sleeve. When you love openly. When you invest fully. This deeply intimidated them. Your ability to be vulnerable is a superpower that they secretly admire but are completely terrified by. In their eyes, you are a force of nature. You represented a depth of connection that overwhelmed their system. I am also picking up a subtle third energy here, an external influence that has played a role in this separation. This feels like the influence of their peers, their family, or societal expectations. There is a status quo energy surrounding them. They have people in their ear telling them how they should act, or friends who inadvertently encourage their emotionally unavailable behavior. This external noise acts as a thick fog, validating their pride and giving them excuses to stay disconnected. They use that external validation as a shield against the much harder truth that they deeply miss the one person who saw straight through all their walls. The dynamic is a classic clash between a heart that wants to expand, your energy, and a mind desperately trying to control, their energy. This contrast creates a magnetic pull. Despite their walls, they are drawn to your light. They observe how you navigate the world without heavy armor. They see your authenticity, and it acts as a mirror reflecting back all the areas where they are still hiding. It's an uncomfortable reflection, which is why they had to step back. But the irony is, the further they step away, the more they realize how cold and colorless their world feels without your unique, vibrant energy in it. You challenge them just by existing in your truth. You didn't force them to change, but your presence highlighted exactly where they needed to heal, and their pride rebelled. The core conflict here isn't necessarily about a lack of love or a lack of attraction. It is a profound crisis of timing, readiness, and internal alignment. I am seeing a massive amount of missed timing in your history with this person. It feels like whenever you were ready to step forward, they took a step back, and by the time they gathered the courage to move, Toward you, you had already begun to protect your own energy and withdraw. It's a painful dance of misaligned rhythms. This creates an atmosphere of deep confusion on both sides. You might have been left wondering, did this mean anything to them at all? While they are left wondering, have I completely ruined my chances? The emotional tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. You need to understand that their past actions, the pulling away, the coldness, or the sudden boundaries, were not a reflection of your worth. It is so important to reframe how you see this. We often rush to label this behavior as purely toxic or maliciously manipulative. But what I am picking up on is deeply rooted fear. They may simply not have been ready to hold the weight of a real transformative connection. Sometimes when people encounter a bond that has the power to change their lives, their instinct is to run away from it. It requires them to evolve, to heal their core wounds, and to drop the mask. And that is terrifying work. Right now, their internal struggle is tearing them apart. They are standing at a crossroads. One path is the easy road, maintaining the pride, keeping the walls up, staying silent, and living with the dull ache of regret forever. The other path requires them to swallow their immense pride, reach out, admit they were wrong, and risk facing your potential rejection. This internal tug-of-war is exhausting them. You might even feel this tension energetically. If you've been having sudden unexplainable mood shifts or moments where your heart suddenly races out of nowhere, that is their chaotic, conflicted energy bleeding over into your space. They are fighting themselves, wrestling with the ghost of this connection, desperately trying to figure out how to bridge a gap that they themselves tore wide open. The silence isn't empty. It is fiercely, violently active beneath the surface. Now, let's shift the focus to you, because this is where the energy gets incredibly beautiful. I am seeing the Nine of Pentacles representing your current aura. And it is absolutely radiant. While they have been stuck in the dark, wrestling with their pride and their shadows, you have been out here doing the quiet, hard work of self-reclamation. You seem to be stepping into a much stronger, more deeply grounded version of yourself. There is a sense of independence and self-worth that has blossomed from the pain of this separation. You didn't just sit and wait. You might have grieved, but you also stood up, dusted yourself off, and started watering your own garden. You are beginning to realize that you are the prize here. Your energy is elevating. You are focusing on your own goals, your peace, your aesthetic, your environment, your career. You are cultivating a life that feels abundant and secure regardless of who is standing beside you. This glow-up, both internally and externally, is undeniable. And here is the fascinating part. Your growth is acting like a homing beacon. The wider, more you detach from the outcome of this specific connection, the more you focus purely on your own joy and alignment, the louder your absence rings in their ears. You are naturally attracting attention not just from them but from the universe at large. People are noticing your shift. You carry yourself differently. You are no longer willing to shrink yourself to fit into spaces where you aren't fully celebrated. This newfound self-respect is your strongest asset. You are evolving past the version of you that would have accepted breadcrumbs or tolerated inconsistent behavior. You have built a beautiful, peaceful sanctuary within yourself, and you are fiercely protective of who gets access to it now. They can feel this shift from miles away. They can sense that the door is no longer wide open, that they can't just waltz back in with low effort. Your leveled-up energy demands a leveled-up approach, and frankly, it is making their pride feel incredibly small and inadequate in comparison to your grace. You are whole on your own. And this aligned magnetic signature is exactly what makes you so unforgettable. So we loop back to where we started, but with a deeper understanding of the stakes. They are absolutely thinking about you. That is a constant. But what is changing, what is actively shifting in the current energy is the pressure within them. The dam is starting to crack. The pride that has held them back for so long is becoming too heavy to carry. It's exhausting to pretend you don't care when you care deeply. It's draining to maintain a facade of indifference when your soul is quietly aching for resolution. Something is fundamentally shifting behind the scenes. The universe is orchestrating moments of synchronicity that force them to face this. They might be hearing your name everywhere. They might be seeing your favorite numbers, or running into people who remind them of you. Spirit is essentially cornering them, removing their escape routes and forcing them to confront the truth of their own heart. We are building toward a critical turning point, a climax in this unspoken narrative. Their internal realization is reaching a boiling point. The fear of reaching out and being rejected is slowly being eclipsed by a much larger, much more terrifying fear. The fear of losing you permanently. The fear of watching you move on completely, of seeing someone else step into the space they abandoned. This impending realization is the catalyst that threatens to shatter their pride once and for all. They are nearing the edge of a cliff, realizing that to get to you, they are going to have to take a leap of faith, drop the armor, and finally open their mouth to speak the words they've been swallowing for months. The energetic buildup is immense, vibrating with the anticipation of a break in the silence. The air feels thick with imminent change, waiting to see which force will win, the fragile ego or the undeniable pull of the connection. Looking ahead, to where this energy is naturally flowing, there is a very strong possibility of a sudden, unexpected shift in the dynamic. I'm seeing the Page of Cups as the culminating energy here, which indicates that a message, a gesture, or an olive branch is trying to manifest in the physical realm. This could lead to a communication that breaks the ice. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean they are going to show up with a grand cinematic declaration of love tomorrow. Remember, they are battling a mountain of pride. But there is a strong potential for a quiet, perhaps hesitant, reach out. It might start small, a reaction to a story, a text checking in, or a seemingly casual comment. But beneath that small gesture is an ocean of intention. This could ultimately lead to a profound emotional resolution. Whether that resolution comes in the form of a renewed, healthier relationship, or simply the closure and clarity you've been seeking, a clearing of the air is deeply favored. The fog of confusion is lifting. This energy feels like a bridge finally being lowered over the moat they built around themselves. It's important to understand that this is pointing toward a potential new phase. If they do step forward, they won't be the exact same person who walked away. The hermit phase has fundamentally altered them. They have had to face their own shadows, and while the pride is still a hurdle, it is significantly weakened. There is an opportunity here for an honest conversation, a moment where masks are finally set aside. But the outcome isn't just about what they do. It's about how this potential reconnection aligns with the new, empowered version of you. The universe is setting the stage for clarity, bringing the hidden truths out into the light, so that you can clearly see what you are working with and make an informed, empowered decision about your own future. As we navigate this complex energy, my strongest guidance for you is to remain anchored in your own worth. You always have the choice. You are not a passive character waiting for them to make up their mind. You hold the pen to your own story. If and when they do reach out, I encourage you to trust your intuition above all else. Your body will tell you what your mind might try to confuse. Notice how your nervous system reacts. Does their return bring a sense of calm or a spike of anxiety? Do not feel pressured to make things easy for them just because they finally decided to show up. It is okay to hold your boundaries. It is okay to take your time and observe if their actions match their words. You have worked entirely too hard on your own healing and independence to compromise your peace for potential. Require consistency. Require vulnerability. If they want access to the beautiful sanctuary you have built, they need to leave their pride at the door. Stay aware. Protect your energy. And remember that any relationship you entertain from this point forward must honor the profound self-respect you have cultivated. Your journey is about your own evolution. Continue to focus on your joy, and let everything else naturally fall into its rightful place around you. Whatever this situation is meant to teach you, it feels like you are moving into something so much more aligned with your highest good. The heavy, stagnant energy of the past is clearing out, making room for genuine clarity and emotional authenticity. Whether your path moving forward includes this person stepping up to the plate, or you continuing your beautiful journey of independent growth, please reassure yourself that things are unfolding exactly as they need to. You are incredibly strong, and you have handled this complex emotional landscape with such grace. Keep pouring that love and attention back into yourself. Trust that the universe sees your worth, and will only align you with energies that match it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this reading brought you some peace or clarity, feel free to leave a comment or subscribe to the channel. Until next time, take beautiful care of yourself, stay grounded, and keep shining your bright light.